Okay, we're back, and we're talking about some of her and my favorite tracks off of the album. And one of my favorite is the Cliffs 1 and 2. And it seems to be like a story, or, well, I'll let her tell you. I'm not going to try to, yeah.
It's so funny because I was just telling my partner, I think yesterday, that most people seem to really like Cliffs 1 and 2. I said that's for me is so funny or weird because I almost didn't include that in the
Oh,
album. And many people have told me, oh yeah, that's probably my favorite or one of my favorites. So Cliffs 1 and 2 were actually the first pieces that I composed. Not only for the album, but composed since I'd left school. So I spent a long time without really composing, putting anything down or really recording it. And Cliff's 1 was and 2, they were really it was really a cathartic experience, I think, for me, because I was really in the middle of what I would call like a just a storm for me and feeling very lost. So at the time I was staying somewhere which was I was literally on the cliffs and right in front of the sea. And so because I had no title and I had to save what I recorded on my laptop, I just put, okay, just call it Cliffs One, Lost at Cliffs One. I didn't even put Lost at Sea. Later that came, but so it was a very that piece was actually I would say quite easy to compose because it just came out of a very whatever I think what most people might imagine when they hear the music, or if you had to give a feeling to that music, that's literally what it was. So I was very, I guess, honest musically and to just play what I was feeling. Um, and then came from that came Cliffs 2, which afterwards I named Cliffs 1, Lost at Sea, Cliffs 2, The Lighthouse. And it wasn't so much about, okay, the lighthouse, you can see where you should go. It was for me, um, this Lost at Sea was okay, know you're lost. And Cliffs 2 was the lighthouse. You can see a light, you can see a direction, but you're not sure you want to take it. So you're not sure that's the way you want to go. It might be better to still be in sea for a while before you decide to take that route or to go somewhere else. So both pieces were represent a kind of indecisiveness, a kind of solitude, but yeah, it was trying to find reverence in that and being in that space. Um, and actually, there was a Cliffs 3 as well, but in
no,
the end, I changed the title, and Cliffs 3 became Deep Sleep
oh,
because so Deep Sleep was actually the continuation, but I just thought, it's I was at a very, even though it's a continuation of where I was, because Deep Sleep I composed at the end of 2022, where all my problems seemed to be solved, but because I was in used to being such a kind of tense state of fight or flight, I couldn't just relax and be happy or content. I was still kind of in that state where I couldn't believe that everything was finally okay. It's as if because I've been through such a turbulent year, and then in the end everything had resolved almost magically. And I was still, no, there must be something there. There must be something which isn't right, which will go wrong. So deep sleep was that feeling I had where I just wanted to sleep. I felt like I wanted to sleep for 2 weeks or more and wake up and just be like, because then when I woke up, I would be, no, it's fine. It is fine. I am at a good place. The problems are solved. So that's what deep sleep was about. It was just that feeling of needing to rest after everything and to really wishing that you can just let go and rest for a bit. So those three pieces were very it was really helped me a lot to compose and record them. It really was a very cathartic experience. And yeah, and then I have other pieces which I composed, but those three were really the beginning of the album. That's when really decided this, I'm gonna make an album out of this. I'm gonna get all the pieces I from composers, which I wanted to be present and do the rest myself, which I'd never really done, composing my own music like this. And
What
yeah,
are,
then there is, sorry, go on.
no, I was just going to say, what are some of your other favorite tracks on the album?
Well, the other ones that the Where is Right Here, I guess, and so most of the album has this kind of, I would say, um, almost a dark feeling, or it's maybe
Nice,
a
yeah.
bit heavy. Um, Even though it's also good music, so I think relax too.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, there are two pieces which are very optimistic and very like new morning kind of waking up, everything's fine. And that is These Are My First Words
Yes.
and The Where is Right Here. So These Are My First Words is definitely the most romantic piece in the album. At the time, and this is it's a very personal story, but at the time, my partner and I were in a long distance relationship, and thankfully there's technology which you can send voice messages, and we would send voice messages in the morning when we woke up saying, I love you, and these are my first words, because we just woken up.
Mhm.
And so I found that such a beautiful thing, that so I wanted to share these, that my first words, as in to choose to wake up to words of love, to say words of love to the other person, no matter who it is, if it's a partner, if it's a friend, if it's your mother, your father, your
Important.
spouse.
Very important. It's
Yeah,
got
so
to
I
be
wanted,
right.
yeah, it's the most beautiful thing. So I wanted to put that as the title. I didn't write that specifically in the booklet, but I did write that if you meet me in person and ask me, I'll tell you the reason behind the title. Then there is also the Where is Right Here, which is the last track of the album, because I really wanted to end it on a positive, uplifting movement kind of piece. So that piece, it's got flutes in it and the contrabass flute, and that's really a kind of joyful piece for me. It was about accepting and just really being present and enjoying where you are and seeing all the magic that's around you, really. And that's the Rose right here. And I think I've spoken about, oh no, there's Heart Weaving, actually. Heart Weaving is also a very romantic piece. Um, for a long time, it was going to be called the Light of the Great Outdoors, because it was a continuation of Crepuscular. So Heart Weaving represents the moments where your heartstrings are getting entwined with someone else's heartstrings, creating knots, bonds, bows, ties.
Yeah.
And so that's what that piece represents. And it's with contrabass, flute, and piano, with improvisation at the end. Um, that's the longest piece in the album, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and it's very I don't know if the word's tender, but that's how I would see it or describe it. Um, I loved recording that piece. And then the first piece is The Time Is in This Very Moment, which is just a very short piece to kind of open up the whole soundscape of the universe in the album.
The other one, you probably talked a little bit about it, but is the 60 millimeter, which does sound like it belongs
Yeah.
in some kind of film. Talk a little bit about that. It really is dramatic, and I love
So
it.
that's the one by Heine. That's the one which he composed for his father.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and he composed it. It's called 60 millimeters because, oh, I hope I'm saying this right, but I think it was his archery, or it was 60 millimeters wide, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
getting dangerous. And so he did, his father chose to do the surgery, which went well, but then there were complications from, I think it was a hospital infection, which he got, and then he passed away.
Mm.
So 60 millimeters, if you hear the kind of check and breathing we're doing, it's because he wanted to imitate the sounds of the breathing machines in the hospital with the
Oh,
flutes. So
yeah.
that's why we're doing that kind of sounds. And he also put the initials of his father in the piece as the notes we play. And I don't know if you remember in the piece there, all of a sudden there are these really fast notes
Yeah,
rising over and playing.
I
And
think I
that he
talked
wrote,
about it.
yeah, that he wrote was the Journey to Heaven. So it's
Oh,
when his father had passed away and he imagined his father's spirit going up into heaven, which was, oh, it was so special and
yeah.
beautiful for him to share that with me because when you know, when you, I mean, Heina's a good friend of mine. We played together in a trio and so I know him well. And when your experience, when your friend who's very, I wouldn't say cold, but just reserved and doesn't talk about emotions or personal things like that, when he's opening up about something so beautiful and yeah, personal, it was really, really lovely. So I'm really glad we have that piece in the album.
As I mentioned earlier, your music videos are incredible. They give us a chance to see you playing in action, which is wonderful for those that are new and those that haven't had a chance to see you in concert. Tell us about your favorites, your favorite videos, and are there some new ones that you're working on for this next album? And she does a lot of location stuff. I think you did one in a cave in Vietnam, I think it was. But yeah, talk a little bit about. I mean, it is. She does some great
Oh,
on
thank you.
location shooting. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so most of the, well, first of all, I am working in new videos because we did go to the Faroe Islands and we recorded and we filmed a lot of things there. Um, but to choose a favorite video is quite tough. I think I would choose, oh, I don't know. I'm probably gonna uh change my mind as soon as I say it or as soon as we stop recording. I'll think, no, I should have said the other one. But there's one of my favorites was one of the very first ones I did. It's called Zoom Tube, where I'm dancing and playing the flute. So it kind of goes back and forth, and you don't know that it's me until I take off the mask because there's a part in the piece. It's a very modern piece, contemporary piece, and I have to shout yow into the camera. uh, and so I did that, and then you know it's me. But I really enjoyed that because it was the first real video I made, and that kind of started all the me wanting to do more because I really enjoyed that kind of creative outlet that you get to have. Um, but I loved filming also Be Still My Soul, which is one where I'm on the swing in
Yes.
Norway and the beautiful fjord.
Yeah.
That was really lovely to film and to be there. It was, even though it was summer and it was freezing, it was
Yeah.
quite cold with me in that dress.
You
Um,
wouldn't know. Yeah. You did a perfect
oh,
video there
thank you.
because, yeah, it's cold. We
And
have
then,
those days here.
yeah, yeah. And then there are the ones which I did for Intrinsic, which Mononoke Hime, which I was running in barefoot in Brazil. I really love doing those videos because it was such a dream of mine. Whenever I think of my first album, I, it's like I'm looking at myself, even though it was only released on in 2 years ago, I think, or a year and a half ago. I'm such a different person when I released the album my second, so it's like me using
Uh,
looking at a much younger version of myself, even though it's not that long ago.
can you go back?
And I filmed so many pieces in nature.
Can you
Sorry,
go
go on.
back? No, the video kind of blotted out that last, and it was really important what I think you were saying, but the video kind of uh, slowed.
What was the last thing you heard?
Just describe that what you just described, the
Okay,
videos in Brazil, because it somehow the feed just kind of stopped and you locked in.
okay.
Go ahead.
So in that album, I because I since I did so well, all of the pieces I filmed in nature, and it was really a dream of mine to do a visual album where I could put most or all of the pieces of the album, I could link it to a video. So I love those videos. It's very hard to choose a favorite, really. The ones that I recorded for Reverence for the Moment as well with the contrabass flutes in London. That was, yeah, it's just fun to make them. It's hard to choose a favorite.
Right, but they are wonderful legacy to extend out and give people a vision of what your concert would be like, or who you are and how you play them, and like I said, for me, just to see something like that for the first time was incredible. The flutes.
Oh, great.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah. Um, we talked about upcoming concerts, festivals. Is there anything else that we did not cover that you would like to talk about or you would like to add?
I don't think so. I think that was pretty good.
We covered a lot of ground, definitely, and you did. You uh, didn't hold back, and thank you. You really gave a lot of information, and please get out there. And I only have the one album, but I'm definitely going back to get some more because, and I will be trying to get those new albums when they come out because it is just a fantastic break from everything else that you're listening to. Um, it just like I say, now they've become part of my morning or evening routine. And not that the music is routine, but just I like them so much.
Oh
I
no, I,
want to
I I
hear
appreciate it. Thank you
'em.
so much.
Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to cover?
No, I just had one question.
Yeah.
Do you have vinyls behind you? Is that what some of them are?
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
the ones on the wall there, those are just posters. But yeah, Led Zeppelin is one of my favorite bands. That's Led Zeppelin 4 with the guy
Yeah, because
carrying.
I was gonna ask you because I think maybe in my third album I was thinking of releasing a vinyl, and I was wondering if people buy vinyls if it
Oh
is
my
a
gosh.
thing.
Yeah, over here it is.
Okay.
It's really funny because I grew up with vinyl before CDs, before MP3s, all the other things that are out there now. And so, yeah, well, actually, I used to have a massive collection of vinyl, and then I cut it down to my favorite stuff. But if you look at my CDs, um, there's like walls full of CDs because I like the sound of a CD, the clarity of a CD better than vinyl. There's people that will argue for days about which one sounds more real or whatever. I don't get into those debates. I just say if you listen to, like I did many times, and it started with the Pink Floyd uh, Dark Side of the Moon. If you listen to that on vinyl versus CD, that's what did it for me. Years and years of hearing pops and skips, and during those real tranquil periods, and then to
Yeah.
finally put that. In fact, that was the first CD I bought. I put that thing on, had headphones on. I was like, oh, thank you. No pops, no skips, just pure music. And that was the end for me. I didn't buy, I don't think I bought any vinyl after that. But no, that's me. People out there we have a bunch of used record stores, and
Buy vinyl.
these newer generations are definitely going back and trying to experience everything as vinyl. I mean, CDs I think are doing okay, but not like vinyl. So don't be afraid to release it on vinyl.
Okay.
And in fact, something you want to look into. Last week I interviewed a and I can put you in contact with him. We have a local record company here that is releasing plastic vinyl, which is brand new. It's environmentally conscious, and if you watch
Oh,
the
wow.
interview, they know a lot more about it than I do. But
Okay.
that's something you may want to look into. And yeah, there.
Cheaper? Because vinyls are
Yes,
quite expensive to make.
yes, it's less expensive, and like I say, and I think you're very environmentally conscious, like I am. And
Yeah.
it's very environmentally conscious. It's a lot better. And yeah, I'll put you in touch with them. And
Oh, yes, please. That'd be great.
yeah, for your next album or one of the albums you're working on, that would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't fear vinyl. It's selling, at least here in the United States. And I think when these guys talked about it, they said that the Netherlands is one of the places that is like the leader in making vinyl, and so I'm sure throughout Europe, it's pretty
Yeah.
popular as well.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you so much.
That was too much talking from me. Sorry.
No, it's
Any, anything else you wanted to cover? Because
no,
this is
I think I said a lot.
no, no. Well, again, it was wonderful to have you here, Daniela. I just can't believe it's happened, but thank you for taking the time to do this. And we're definitely looking forward to anything you do in the future. And be happy
Thank
to
you so
bring you
much.
back here and interview you again once when you're ready. And looking forward to the new music you're bringing to us. But thanks again for being here at the Noble Shire of Progressive Discussion and the Progressive Rock Central. That's our website. But hey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.